Bringing the vision into a mission. This is Global Mission of Peace with the GoldFish Report on November 20th, 2015. And I am Radagast, and I am joined by Louisa, our media outreach.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Kiel is here with us today. Hello, Kiel.
Hello, hello.
The wonder from down under, Sanjay.
G'day, all. Good to be of service to you.
Our very good friend Bo is with us today also.
Peace and blessings to everyone.
And the voice of the dragon, the ambassador himself. Welcome, ambassador.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to the GoldFish Report. I will leave the introduction for today's program over to Louisa, and then we will start the program. Okay?
Thanks, Mr. Ambassador. We have a great program for you today. We have just published the Cobra and the Ambassador's interview as a joint collaboration between the Victory of the Light radio show and the GoldFish Report with Rob Potter, myself, Cobra, and the Ambassador. And what a fantastic interview this is. What we're going to do is we're going to pull it up in screen share. And we just want our viewers to know that you can go to the goldfishreport.com and you can go to the links section and you can access the transcript. This is a transcript-only interview because it was a four-way. We were all at different 4 points on the planet, literally. So it was very difficult to coordinate the voice modulation for Cobra. So this resulted in a transcript only, but there is also a digital version available. And so what I'm going to do is screen share to show all of our viewers. That's not what I wanted to screen share. This is live. Hold on. Okay, we'll pull that up again and we'll screen share it this time. There we go. So here it is. Here's the digital version of the interview, the transcript. So this is on the YouTube page, Forbidden Truth, but it's also going to be posted on the goldfishreport.com. We also have, in fact, here's the GoldFish Report right here. So if you click on the links, oh, it's underneath here. Hold on, we're getting there. If this little thing would move out of the way, oh, I can move this down. Here we go. This is the goldfishreport.com, and if you go to the links page, which is right here, this is where the interview is. This is where the interview is posted. We have a PDF, so we have it posted two ways. We have a PDF, and we also have the link directly to the Promise Revealed website, which is Rob Potter's website, in collaboration with the Victory of the Light radio show. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, I guess we'll just click onto Rob's site so we can feature his site while we're screen sharing, and then we can talk to the ambassador about the interview and what his experience was like. So here it is, Victory of the Light blog. This is Rob Potter's blog. And first I want to say at the top, we want to thank Rob again for agreeing to collaborate. We want to also make sure we thank Cobra for joining us and collaborating, and of course the ambassador. Everybody had goodness in their hearts. Everybody is united in trying to do good and bring peace on this planet and try to expedite the process of the shift and change to the new paradigm. So here we are. We're featuring this. We're featuring this transcript, and I'm not going to go into the introduction because all the viewers can do that. But what we would like to do right now is kind of start with the questions. So here's where the interview actually begins. And then maybe the ambassador can maybe elaborate a little bit more on his questions. I did get to ask a few questions. Rob asked some questions. And of course, the ambassador and Cobra got to ask questions of each other. This is really a phenomenal interview that I think everybody's going to get very excited and very charged about. And we'll do more in the future as we move along and things progress. So the first question Rob was gracious enough to give to me, and so we will go. I asked Cobra about the strangelet bombs, and I think everybody is familiar with that. You can access that from the transcript, but we're going to go right to the ambassador. So the ambassador starts out by asking a question. Ask Cobra, how did he come to this awakening and the environment? What led him to the knowledge that he has today? And Cobra's response was that it's not an awakening process for him, and that he never actually lost his memory of who he is and what his mission is here. So that's very interesting. I never heard Cobra say that before. So I think, so you can continue to read that part of the interview. And then here we have the ambassador who might want to take a look at what he said here and then might want to embellish on this. But he's being asked a question by Rob, who asks long questions, many questions in one, and we'll try to break it down. So here's Rob. I'm going to ask a question of the ambassador, and I'll follow up with a little bit of Cobra. He's had physical contact when he was younger with the same fleeting contact as I, working with Dr. Bell. We had a lot of things in common. So this is Rob talking about he and Cobra. So many of you, so my question for you, Ambassador, is, as I've stated before to people, I believe you're absolutely sincere. You're putting a lot of time and effort in with Louisa to help people prepare projects for financial releases. I have been in contact with someone who I have to remain nameless, who had a bunch of bonds. And he actually went to China about 2 weeks ago and had cemented a deal that he'd been working on with the Treaty of Versailles bonds. So this has to do with the bonds, and the ambassador, if you want to just take a look at what you had said, and if there's anything that you wanted to, first, if you want to just comment overall on how the interview went and what your experience was like, and then maybe you want to go into a little bit more if you felt that, you know, this really, I know when I was reviewing the transcript, I would have liked to have said some things a little differently, and when it's a transcript, we can edit that, but when it's voice, we can't. So this is a chance for you to kind of maybe, if you want to rephrase something, you can do that.
No, I don't know. I have actually, to be honest with you, I have not been able to read the transcript, and I think that I hopefully made things clear in relations to this situation. And you know, it's very important that, you know, you when we deal with people that I like explained to both Cobra and to Potter when we started this discussion, is that when you come in to my platform, even though I might not agree with everything that the person says, I will still, you know, show these people respect. Okay. But at the same time, you know, I have to be honest enough to, you know, to tell what the truth is. You know, if someone basically living in Disneyland, you know, I think that I have a duty, you know, to basically, you know, express what the reality is. You understand? And unfortunately, it has been so much misinformation on the internet and set up by both a cabal and by agencies in relation to these historical bonds and this particular assets. Okay, and I went into a little bit details of it. I don't know how much was understandable by the person that was doing the transcript. I have to read it. And I don't want to destroy the experience by me sitting and re-talking what I was said. I think that I recommend that people to you know, to listen to it and read it, you know, and I will try to have a time to do so too, and see what is, you know, what has been said there. If something is not correctly interpreted by the person listen to me, then I would later on address it, or someone could, if they feel or want to, can write to us and ask me for a specific more answers into this question and answers in relation to what I did address in this particular thing. But I have addressed many times, you know, both bonds and dinars and stuff like that, and different type of exchange things and stuff like that, which when people have been asking me in the past. And by my opinion, it's a phishing operation, and you know, it is a system in place for this type of things, and for the people that is involved, really involved in it, knows how that system operates and how it works. And for the people on the outside being played around with by the cabal and of disinformation agents is a completely different maybe story. But if I'm going to go in and talk about that, we can make a whole program just about historical bonds and these particular things. And like I said, I don't want to say that the person was not actually in a meeting with someone. They probably was, but at the same time, if these people represent a fishing operation or a true entity based on the story which was told to me, it didn't seem reasonable. But that's basically, and that's what I was explaining during the discussion with him in this particular. But at the same time, it is a lot of positive things, as I explained, that it's happening right now. And it is basically a light in the tunnel for the keepers and for the people that has been doing their great work during 7 years. And some people maybe has not done a great job for the 7 years, and they would also get their reward. So, but at the same time, we are coming to the new era. And in this new era, I hope it will be more honesty, more compassion, and more love, and less war and less negativities.
Well, let me just pull up something from this because they're talking about the situation with the release of prosperity funds, and something they're talking a little bit to the IMF, the World Bank, and you made comments about this, and you talked about the gray screens or the death screens. Why are they called death screens? And what were you referring to? Do you remember?
Is it saying death streams or because actually I was saying
the transcriptionist may have that word wrong. I'm like, really?
No, actually it's called depth screens. So basically they probably didn't hear me with my accent when I was saying depth. They thought I said death. So.
Maybe they're thinking there's Darth Vader going to pop up somewhere.
Well,
and maybe Darth Vader's in control of the screens, you think?
Who knows? But the thing, it's probably a lot of dog people controlling the screens at this time. But at the same time, it's not the death screens. So maybe that has to be corrected.
That has to be corrected for sure, because no one's going to understand what that is. Okay, and you do talk about there being a lot of disinformation. And just to move along, so Cobra gets to ask you a few questions, and the question that Cobra was asking you, he's making a comment about what you had said, and his comment was that the process doesn't only include the dragon families, but that it includes other interest groups that are on the surface and beyond the surface of the planet, and that they all have their own interest groups and their own motivation. He said he wouldn't say agenda, but their own course of action. And all those different groups need to come together and find common ground. And I, took a little issue with that, because I thought, if these are really, we're talking beyond the surface of the planet, if we're talking about people who are supposed to be more advanced than us, they don't seem to be much more advanced if they can't really agree on things. If they're really different from us, then they should have the answer. It should be solved. But you're saying that there's people who don't want to give up control. I think that was
the situation is, my response is very simple. It's one thing what you believe the system is. Okay, it's a different thing what it is in reality. Okay, and this is what I explained also to him, is that, and explained in the discussion. And as I said, you can believe that it's the Queen Elizabeth that's in power. You can believe that it's the Pope that's in power. You can believe that it's fairy that's in power. You can believe it's the dragon family being in the power. You can believe whatever you want to believe. But the reality is that it's certain people and certain councils, I explained, that is in power. And these persons are called dragon families. Okay. And so basically in this regard, they are different groups of families united in a council, but then you have a supreme intelligence, a supreme decision maker. And basically, and if you don't want to accept that, that's your opinion, that's your choice to do. But unfortunately, the world is not as we always want it. So the world is the way it is, and it has an emperor, and that person decides what happens. And actually, these people that I talked about is underneath the eye even, and far underneath the levels of decision. When we're talking about trustees like the Queen and like the the Pope and others. But, you know, you have to realize that this is what I find so intriguing when I do a discussion with people, and this is something that is very, very important to me, is that I have the utmost respect for everyone, okay, and for their opinions, okay? But based on their opinions, I also calculate what is the knowledge. I also calculate where the information, the background comes from. And for me, it's, you know, some people do not like to, like I stated, to believe that they're not in control. And then they will continue to have this type of discussions. But the controlling system on the planet is quite, you know, straightforward. And it's not as, you know, maybe people want it to be. But it is this way, and this is something that we have to accept and deal with and try to change within. And like you talk about, you know, supreme intelligence, people who believes that they're more intelligent than others, and it's a saying that when you believe that you're much smarter than others is the true sign of stupidity. Okay, so I think that it's very important to believe that, you know, if these entities that are now extraterrestrials at one point of time was created by the same creator as created us humans, and they probably has as mass fails and mistakes as we have. And it's like I usually say to people, and I said that to you first time I spoke to you, actually, it was that when you asked me a question long time ago, was that when you talk about how we can communicate with the inner earth people, I said, how can we communicate with the inner earth people? We cannot even communicate with our neighbors. Okay, so I think it's important that we need to take baby steps and basically learn how to deal with ourselves. And in this problem we have on the planet, maybe, you know, an alien accidental threat maybe will unify humanity in a strive to do something more positive instead of all time being divided. And unfortunately, humanity has been divided by this type of satanic entities that wants to come as obstacles to man, creating, you know, religions, creating political parties and opinion polls, and that's why we are where we are today.
You know,
so
I'm sorry. I thought you were pausing.
No, so I think it's important. I think it's very, very important that we as humans try to get control over our own neighborhoods. And that's what we're talking about. And what the mission was from our side on the war on ignorance is that it starts within, and basically watching yourself in the mirror and asking yourself, what can you do to change your life and the life of others? And that's basically where we need to start, and stop thinking and believing that we're going to be saved, you know, by a rapture of any kind of type, even if it's Jesus or if it's aliens or whatever we want to believe that's going to come and save us. We need to save ourselves. Okay, and I think humanity has seen that we have not had any great interventions other than the interventions that have been done by ourselves, and that's the way it has to be. We have to start taking care of ourselves. Neighborhood. It's not like the house is burning and Louisa is burning in the house, and basically, you know, we say, oh, you know, don't worry, let her burn, because she will be raptured. Okay, now she has a chance to escape the house or do something about taking down the fire, you know. But from where I am right now, I mean, I cannot rapture her, I cannot beam her up. So it's very important that she do whatever she do. And I think this is, in the interview that we had with Cobra, I think the most important thing here is to start a communication, okay? To start an open communication between all of us. And like I said to him, what can we do to make a world better together, okay? And even if it's extraterrestrials that is on the planet, I mean, they still share this planet with us. Unfortunately, maybe we cannot be escaping this planet like they can, but we have to, you know, make sure that we save this planet for the future. You know?
Well, you know, I'm going to stop the transcript here because I want to bring our panel in to pick up on something that you said that's really significant. And also, since Cobra can't be here, I'm just going to hold up these lightsabers here just so we kind of have Cobra's spirit with us in our conversation. These little lightsabers, because this is his Yoda. It's his little mascot he uses. But you said, you know, if we had this external threat, that we would all be united in a common I don't know if you want to say common threat, common enemy, but it's a very good point. And I want to go and I want to ask everybody on our panel, because we have Shell with a very long background in as a pastor. We have Bo, who is a metaphysical healer. We have Sanjay, who is divine. He's got some serious genetics going there. So we want to ask everybody to jump in and and Radagast, of course, the wizard, to kind of give us your opinion on this concept. And I want to ask each of you what you think about if we had a huge ET invasion, not a blue beam, holographic one, but a real one. What do you think would happen? Honestly, if it happened outside the door, in an hour from now, how would you react, and what do you think it would do? And I'll start with Bo. Ladies first.
If we had a galactic invasion, well, my understanding of galactic encounters is based on the planes of existence, and the planes of existence on our planet have been available. They are esoteric knowledge in many of the cultures. So the best way I can define it is to say that the first plane would be rocks and minerals. That's very real. They are part of our body. They are the periodic table. It's considered non-organic matter. Then the second plane of existence is the plane of whole foods. Okay, they're very real. They actually provide us with love and nutrients. The second plane of existence is the plane of human beings and animals. That's the plane of proteins and nurturing. It's very real. So all those planes help the physical body, and there are healers on every plane. An alchemist is in the first plane of rocks and minerals. We have wizards and pharmacists who compound all kinds of herbs, and then we have human beings. We have doctors and nurses or mothers that work on the third plane. Then we go into the higher realms, okay? Higher dimensions, higher vibrations. If you can just think of levels and layers and levels and layers, although you may not see them with your naked eye, they absolutely exist. So we go into then the realms of the shaman, shapeshifters, and animal totems. And that is a plane of energy. It's a plane of carbohydrates, low on carbs, low on energy, low on energy, low on carbs. But now we're going to go to the fifth plane. That's the plane of battle, okay? That is where you have the galactic encounters. You have the angels. You have psychic surgeons. You have the masters, all the masters, Genghis Khan, Buddha, Kuan Yin, Christ consciousness, levels and layers. Fifth plane, it is duality. The angels vibrate in duality, but there are higher levels beyond the angels, higher levels beyond the galactic encounters, higher levels beyond the psychic surgeons, higher levels beyond the Buddha, Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, and Jesus. Now, I don't want to say anything about religion, because religion is really man's belief about God, and it's not necessarily spiritual. So I'm talking spirituality, okay? So we have good and evil, duality on the fifth plane. That is why we have good and evil on this planet. If we didn't have hot, we wouldn't know what cold is. If we didn't have good, we wouldn't know what evil is. Unfortunately, that plane is a plane of battle, and many of the masters have come to Earth at this time, especially people with the global mission of peace, because we have a mission. And so the galactics are benevolent and malevolent, and some are neutral. A lot of people call in the galactics, and they are going to get anything because they're not specific. When you ask for something to spirit, you should be specific, because spirit has no judgment. It simply is all that is, and it's a very extraordinary energy. And how does one really define it except say Alpha Omega? It's amazing. And so I would first ask, are you benevolent? What do you want? Some, I understand, really just aren't encoded with a specific DNA. Some have encoded human beings. Some human beings are hybrids. It just is. You can see it in the quantum bodies. You can see it in the DNA. It registers. It alters the body. Angels are ETs.
Bo, you are far out, sister. Let me tell you. Is there any way you can put that on kindergarten level for some people who might not know exactly? What do you think humanity, so knowing this is how it works.
Okay, let me tell you a
humanity
secret.
would really, you think
Lisa, let me tell you a secret. You are an ET.
I know, we all are.
That's right. Some of us, why do we come here to Earth? Because we got programs to clear, right? Now you can clear it through going through challenges and difficulties and making your life miserable. Or you can hook up with a healer and you can have all your programs cleared. Boom, 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 get them out of the way. Or some people are coming here because they're coming here to heal, teach healing abilities. Reiki masters are coming in. Spiritual masters are coming in to teach all the esoteric spiritual knowledge that has been forgotten. We have a mission. We're here to teach. And then thirdly, you've just got a bunch of people that are coming in because this is a heart planet. In our one universe, there are 40 heart planets, Earth being the greatest heart planet. This is a special planet. And what happens here in this Milky Way galaxy affects the entire universe. That's why all eyes are on us. That's why we have this extraordinary divine mission here. That's what we're so excited about. So I think I ran away from your question, but the first thing I would ask is, do you come in peace?
Right. You are far out, sister. I'll tell you, you are the quantum diva. Let's go to Shell. Shell is a new guest to the GoldFish Report, but not new to Global Mission of Peace. Shell has been with Global Mission of Peace for a long time, and Shell is also responsible for, as a volunteer, he coordinates the volunteers and all of the wonderful things that we're doing within Global Mission of Peace. And Shell is also has a long history of being a pastor. He is very knowledgeable, and he's also an incredible musician. So welcome to the GoldFish Report, Shell. And if you were to answer that question, how would you answer that in kindergarten language?
Well, first, thank you, Louisa, and thank you, Ambassador. It's an honor for me to be here and join you in the global mission. In the GoldFish Report. I've seen all that you've done, and I think it's great what you're doing. Well, you asked an incredible question as far as how would we react if suddenly one day there was a lot of ETs showing up. And I definitely think there will be a lot of chaos and a lot of confusion because, lots of people are aware of that ETs exist, but probably majority of the people on the earth, they don't think they exist. But suddenly they are confronted with a reality that's not supposed to be there, and that's always earth-shaking. To suddenly your whole paradigm is shaken up. And so I think what would be the most important thing if that actually happened is who would tell the narrative of what's going on or what's happening. Because if that happened, I think that somebody would be behind this from Earth that would have an agenda in doing that. There have been talk of disclosure for decades that the governments should reveal their data on extraterrestrial intelligence and stuff, and they have not released it. And so if suddenly it happened, it would be because there was an agenda behind it. And so that's what I think would be most interesting happening. Who would be in power? Who would spread through the news media the narrative to explain what was going on and what's their agenda by doing this? Because the people explaining the narrative, they are the people in power. And that will basically decide how the GoldFish will respond, because they will be confused and they will look for some authoritative people telling what's going on, what is this? And then they probably would believe in the narrative that would be explained.
Well, that's a great answer, Shell. And actually, Cobra has established many support groups across the globe, which we actually post our Goldfish report on. And he established something called a community leaders brief. So at the time when this happens, people who want to be a leader in their community will know what to do, will know how to talk to the local politicians or the local security services and explain what's going on. So Cobra's kind of thought of that and got this all situated and ready. But it's a good question, and I can tell you that when it happens, we will be reporting it on the Goldfish Report. It will be posted. But you're right. What's the agenda and who's ultimately behind it, and are we going to become then, hostage in a sense? So let's go to, thank you so much, Shell, and thank you, Bo, also. Let's go to Radagast. Let's see if Radagast, if you were to walk out your front door in an hour from now and there would be like massive UFOs landing on your great lawn that you have next to your house, the meadow there, what would you, I know what you'd do, but go ahead and tell me what you would do. How would you think? Do you think this would unite humanity, or do you think that it's going to take a massive financial disaster? Do you think one's better than the other? Do you think one would have a better effect than the other?
Well, we're dealing with a hypothetical, so I'm just going to frame the hypothetical as an invasion from hostile ETs, and having a government and a news agency that actually reports what is happening without an agenda, like a very raw type of crisis. I believe that people would pull together because it's been proven time and time again that whenever humans generally come into crisis, they find the depth of their being. They resource deeper parts of themselves, and they actually come together. I mean, really, when you go to, like, whether it's floods, I mean, like, hurricanes, local communities pull together. And so I think, the bad news is that crisis brings people together. So what I would like for people to come to realize is that since crisis brings us together, perhaps we'd like to kind of consider the fact that we do have a crisis. And the crisis is that we need a crisis to bring us together. And the crisis is that we don't get along without a crisis. So we do have a crisis, and the crisis is that we don't get along. And so if people would recognize that this is a crisis, maybe we could use that crisis to pull together, because the real one is that we are so fractured. The reason a very small amount of people proportionately, a tiny amount of proportionally on the planet can overlord on us is because we're divided. And if we were together and sharing knowledge in common, I mean, case in point, a very good person that I considered a friend of mine, one day I saw jets leaving their slime up on the sky. And I said, oh, look, they're chemtrailing us. And he said to me, I don't know if I believe that. I said, I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to look at the sky and believe what's up there. And he said, well, no, I don't know if I really believe that. And I said, well, how about the fact that you're in your 20s and I'm in my 60s, and I remember about 40 years of blue skies. And the only time I ever saw anything looking like that was when somebody was skywriting and intentionally leaving a thick plume, because jets just leave a little contrail behind them that disappears shortly after they go. I said, so right now what you're saying is that I'm a friend of yours, and I'm telling you that that is in fact not natural, and that is not a good thing up there, but you choose to believe somebody you don't know on a TV. And this is part of a crisis that we have, where we do not come together and trust family and friends. I mean, even with the whole alternative community, very often amongst a group of friends, we're the weirdo. In our own family, we're the weirdo. Why are we weird? Because the people on TV that they don't know are saying we're weird. So that's a crisis, that friends and family don't hold together because somebody they don't know on a tube is telling them something different than the family member is telling them. This is a crisis. And I would just like to kind of tell people, yeah.
Sorry about that, but do you think that it would be more effective? And so you're right. So when there's crisis, people come together. But do you think that what would be different about that kind of crisis versus a major financial collapse? Would that crisis, or are they the same? Would they have the same effect, or do you think it would be different?
I think they would be a little bit different because I think the immediate threat to us all would be evident in an ET hostile landing, where in a financial crash, I think the first thing would be people would still stay very insular and thinking about how this impacts them personally and their family. I don't think they wouldn't be necessarily worrying about how it affected the people across the street or in the next apartment. So I really think that something more global, really global, seen as a real global threat would bring people together quicker than a financial crisis. I think a financial crisis would ultimately bring people together, but not as quickly as an outside threat.
Thanks, Radagast. Your logic is awesome. Just always look forward to hearing your opinion. And Sanjay, the wonder from down under, sorry, but if you were to walk outside and see a whole fleet of UFOs landing, but also I want you to answer the question that Radagast just answered. Would it be the same, or do you see a different, effect for a global financial collapse versus which would have the better effect? Do you think would be a better effect?
Well, as you know, on the GoldFish report, it's on record many times. I've asked for the ETs to come. As one of the things I always say, just like you can't separate the waves from the ocean, you can't separate you from the universe, right? And you talked about my weird history with the star DNA stuff. When they come, I'll be saying, are we finally having peace on Earth? And am I going back home now? But that's just a thing that I would say, not normal people would say. I'm a weirdo, that's fine. The answer to your question, finance hurts people's pockets, right? For finance, people go to war, countries go to war. But when an extraterrestrial, this is why I've always been asking in Global Mission of Peace, GoldFish reports, if each continent had a huge ET ship appear, it is the fear that we have been programmed with, like in Paris, like in every other places that we've had all these issues. The people that control the greater humanity use fear and to control the empathy, right? So we only know that currency, right? And when the spaceships appear, a lot of people are going to crap their pants. Yes, there's going to be some loonies that are going to start praying to them. They're going, I'm waiting for you for a long time, right? But 99.9% of people will crap their pants, right? And that will just go, okay, all this time I believed we were the most intelligent people living on planet Earth and there's no life anywhere else. Holy crap, there is life elsewhere. As Ambassador said earlier, the Creator created us and created everything else in the universe. And as Bo said, there's many levels, right? And people need to understand that. I mean, we got to be the most stupidest people if we think we're the smartest. As the Ambassador had said earlier, that, so there is life on other planets, believe it or not. Just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean that there can't be, right? This is why in the GoldFish we're saying get over the ignorance, right? And the Dragon family is doing what they're doing because they already know. And there's many, many, many historical events and stuff that we know that science has proven and other things has proven. There's people that are masters of different level that will tell you there is higher intelligence. I mean, also, as I said, if you only believe 10% of Randy Kramer, he was in Mars, talking about reptilians, which are dinosaurs. And we know we were planet of dinosaurs before. So, I mean, we've got to start thinking that, yes, it is possible. And I believe the fear, right, is what will unite people. We are all earthlings. We will stop saying you are Muslim, you are Hindu, you are Christian, you are Jude, whatever, right? You're not black, you're not white, you're not African, you're not Australian, you're not whatever. You will be human beings from Earth against whatever is up there because they will not know, right? They will be in fear at the time. Financial losses, we've had many financial losses. It's a funny thing. It's a cycle. Every 7 years, there's a loss. Right? People cry and get over it. But that's something people won't get over. That's when I think people will truly infuse and unite, and hopefully that will achieve true peace. because they have something bigger to fear. I don't want people to fear. I want people to get out of fear. But unfortunately, as we've all said, that's one of the ways we are programmed to be controlled through media, through education, through religion. God is someone that loves his children, but most of the religious books has the devil in it or Satan in it. Why? To fear the crap out of the children, so they pray. So we're controlled very early with fear.
That's great. You're right, Sanjay, and you're entirely right, because I think they would be very different events, in my opinion, because what I think would be most different about it, and I think what matters the most right now, is that we unite. And if the minute, if these spaceships were to come, there wouldn't be Muslim, there wouldn't be Christian, there wouldn't be, Jew. It just wouldn't be important anymore. And we'd all be one. We'd all be one, like you're saying. Whereas, like you said, we've had the global financial crisis, and we've had them before, and we still have, the boundaries and the borders with Jews and Muslims and Christians, and it didn't change anything. So you and I have a good similar thinking there in terms of that, because I think ultimately that's the kind of goal that you want to achieve, is you want that unity. So the funny thing is, though, if the ETs really don't want that, if it's a hostile invasion like Radagast is saying, they wouldn't want us to unite. They wouldn't want that unity, because that would be unity consciousness, and we could do powerful things with unity consciousness. And I know that the ambassador can probably talk about that also, because I don't think that the financial collapse, even if it's global, would have the spiritual impact, the positive spiritual impact that that the ET invasion, or I wouldn't call it an invasion, I would just call it disclosure. But maybe the ambassador has a different opinion on that. And then I'm going to go back to the transcript. The ambassador is there to comment. Oh, did I mute him again? Okay, you're unmuted.
Yes. No, we see this game being played on us every day. Now with the Paris attacks and with future attacks in other locations and all things coming up, and how we unify and start talking the same way that Adolf Hitler did during the Second World War. And I feel that, if this type of small baby step, diversion of so-called international terrorism could scare humanity to such a sense, and finding people unifying and supporting each other there, I think that humanity would probably even unify even more under an alien invasion. And maybe we would take sides away and labels away from us in that type of stance. And I think it's important to engage with people that, that claims to have this type of experience and knowledges of these different form of groups and organizations and so on and so on, to see what they think, see what they want, see what they really represent. And from there, we create our own discernment and see how we can make the decisions to do the right thing from that basis, with that, with whatever is in our face. Yes,
well, during the interview, we had another question. I think, let's see, it was Rob's question was, let's see, could answer Luisa's question. Oh, so this was in response to off-planet entities that are involved in making decisions or being involved in the planet. And Cobra's response was, I'm just going to read a little bit of it, and then maybe the ambassador can comment on it a little bit, because it's along what we're talking about right now. I mean, they're saying that Cobra, this is Cobra. Oh, and I'm going to hold this up. Oh, it's on screen share, so you can't see it. Basically, people have a misunderstanding of what the ETs are doing here when they help liberate this planet. They have a role. They are carrying out their role. I would not say perfectly, but good enough at this moment. What they are doing they are dismantling exotic weapons. They are removing the stranglet bombs. They are doing much to keep this planet in shape. They're preventing a drastic cataclysms, and they've prevented many world wars. So they are doing their part. Also, the surface population, the awakened part of the surface part is doing their part. And this is not about somebody being better than the other, but the situation itself is quite drastic because there are many mistakes being made in the last, I would say, 25,000 years. Cobra makes it sound like he's been around to recall this, but it's funny. And to a certain degree, the last few millions of years. And now we are correcting those cosmic mistakes. So it's not about putting blame to either surface population or the ETs. So it says here, each segment is doing whatever they can to do the best of their abilities. So it really does look like, and I'm not going to continue, he has more, but I'm just going to stop there because, I don't know if it would be hostile. I mean, how is it that we have, according to Cobra, we have entities out there who are trying to do something to actually help us? I mean, is it possible that there are positive ETs that want the liberation of this planet? And I think the ambassadors referred to this as being, a prophecy. I mean, it's time. That's what the 555 is all about. So is it likely that there are these positive entities that are truly looking out for our best interest to fulfill this prophecy 555? Ambassador, are you still there?
I believe this way that, in every sense that, that everyone, doesn't matter who it is, if it's humans or if it's extraterrestrials, you have people like George Bush and Dick Cheney and their likes and Tony Blair that thought that they're going to Iraq to bring democracy. And the question is, what was the price of this democracy? How many million of people had to die for this so-called liberation and freedom? Okay, and then you ask yourself a simple question: what is freedom? And the problem here is the same thing with these entities, by my opinion, is that all, whoever they are, might be, always have their own attention. And if attention is to work together, then we have a possibility to change humanity. But if we have a group of people that doesn't share that opinion, then basically we have an even bigger problem today than what we had today. We have a bigger problem now. And also we see here, you see how the cabal is making with this so-called terrorist attacks and all these different things that's going on. And it unifies people. It unifies people through ignorance, through fear. And, and they using these type of concepts to try to, to take control over your own free will. And that's what is my fear. My fear is basically is that whoever comes, what is the true attention? If they're here to help assist humanity, it would be wonderful. But at the same time, we have to use discernment.
Yeah, some people are much better at discernment than others, and I don't really know if you can learn that. I mean, if someone can teach it, it seems to be something that the ambassador seems to possess very well, but everybody seems to really kind of possess it at a different degree. Now, just to continue on in the interview, there's a little esoteric. When we're dealing with Cobra, we have to deal with some esoteric issues as well. And we do talk about the whole concept of soul groups and the creation of soul groups. And Cobra goes into a bit of an explanation about that. And it's very interesting to hear different people's perspective on that, because at this point in time, for the new shift and change of shifting the paradigm on the planet with the 555, of course, there's many different people with different perspectives on what the purpose of these soul groups are at this time. And I want to go right to Bo, because you're our metaphysical master here. And maybe Bo can elaborate, and I'm just going to, because this is an esoteric question, this is for Cobra, because Cobra can't be here. So I'm just holding up my lightsaber for Cobra's energy. And of course, this one is for the ambassador, the red one. So here's one for the ambassador. So Bo, can you give us a little bit of explanation as to the soul groups, the formation of the soul groups, the soulmates, and then the twin flames, and how are they different?
There's like 5 basic, I would say, categories to a soul or soul families, And, there's really no such thing as a bad soul, because everything is really created in the image and likeness of God. But the expression can be bad, okay? So basically, we have an oversoul. It would be very similar to your family. And if I can give you a symbol, it would be like a flower, a lotus flower. And so every petal on that flower would be an energy of souls. And let's just say that every petal had divisions. Some of those souls may be masculine souls and some may be feminine souls. And so a petal could be divided in two, and it can be divided in up to 9 different sections. Some can be divided up into 7. So every soul is growing and learning, and you kind of require these other souls to help with that process of growing and learning. And so you make contracts before you get here on earth. So a lot of people back in the day wanted to meet their soulmate. And they felt that, oh, this is the other person that's going to make my life meaningful. This is the person that I will love forever, the kind of love that lasts forever sort of stuff, you know, these romanticisms. And thinking that, yeah, everything will be peachy keen when that happens. However, we are souls and we are always developing and growing and processing things. And the actual, the most compatible soul may not be a soulmate. So basically, everybody on the petal of a flower would be considered a flame mate. And you can have up to 81 segments in that flower. Each one on a segment would be what we call your flame mate. Those are people that you meet in your life. Some will come in and go, but they are kindred spirits. For some reason, you feel like you know them. You've been related to them. You've shared many past lives with them. And they've agreed to come here to maybe, you know, their assignment is to help you in a particular time in your life, and then they're gone. But there's a kindredness to those souls. They come in at different points in your life, and it's definitive. It changes you, and it's a marked energy of emotion. And so everybody on your flower would be a flame mate. Now, everybody on your petal would be your twin flame. So you can have up to 8 different twin flames if your petal has 9 different segments. Of those 9 segments, you may have 5 masculine souls, and then you would have 4 feminine souls. Some people who have a petal that has 7 souls, let's just say 4 would be masculine, 3 would be feminine. And so it has nothing to do with sexual orientation. Some souls are just more introspective. We call that kind of a feminine energy. And some are more masculine. They're more into achieving. They have a purpose, you know, and you can have a female or male. Okay, this has been a big problem on the planet is people don't understand masculine and feminine energies. And so, so if a twin flame gets together, sometimes the twin flame can even be an androgynous soul, which is both masculine and feminine balance. People will not get that person because they'll say, well, you know, this man sort of is, I don't know if he's gay or if he's bisexual, but he sure has some, you know, tendencies that are very feminine. He's not so domineering, what have you, and yet he's just an androgynous being. Has anything to do with sexual orientation whatsoever. And so your twin flame is a soul that you have shared and been with since the beginning, the very beginning, way back when you weren't even born, okay, on this earth. Way back, and we call it the Queen of Life, where souls were actually created in the image and likeness of God. And that's like even prior to 2,600 paths of expression. Hard to understand that we do all our learning off this planet. But anyway, so you can have up to, like I say, 8 twin flames. That's a very advanced soul. Jesus Christ had 81 different flame mates. He was at total 9 spiritual completion. Okay, there are different souls. This can all be read and measured. People can find out exactly how many flaymates there are on their flower. And so then we have other flowers. And if you see these other flower, another lotus connecting with another flower, they will connect at a petal. Then they can connect, and maybe one of those energies may be a feminine soul or a masculine soul. We call those soul mates. There is an energy because of masculine, feminine, or, you know, and a woman, you know, she'll say, this masculine man taps into my divine feminine, but other men can't do that. That is a distinct soul connection. It's very real, okay? The twin flame have been mother, brother, sister, grandparent, nurse, priest, you name it, all of it. And therefore they will mirror each other. Sometimes that mirroring can be very dysfunctional. A lot of people are saying, I want to meet my twin flame, you know, he'll answer all my questions in my heart, but they can actually, you know, cause a lot of conflict in your life, because you're actually coming together to clear your programs, your belief systems that have become discordant, that are, you know, regards to maybe benefit blocks or conflict blocks or self-punishment blocks, whatever they are. You've agreed to actually come together to grow and learn and to get rid of those programs once and for all. And they're just a catalyst and they're a helper in that. Some twin flames haven't been together for a while, and now they've come to Earth, and boom, they see each other and they know each other immediately. And that energy will bleed over. They can be on opposite sides of the planet, but they will feel each other's energy. They will pick up empathic sensitivities. It's a very profound relationship. Okay, and so again, you know, we have those soulmates. They're part of the soul family, and then we have like people that have essences, you know, and those would be people that like a person who's a natural musician, and you'll look at them and you'll go, oh my God, that person looks like Mozart. He looks like Chopin, and they're a true artist, and they will pick up the essence of another soul. And they do. And so a lot of people will say, I think that person is the reincarnation of, you know, Leonardo da Vinci or so forth. And they have the essence of that soul, but they may not be the soul itself, okay? And then we had Siamese souls at one time, which were kind of like two twin flame families that were back to back, okay? That has, because spirit is expanded and is always expanding in consciousness, they have been cleared. And so now we know if Siamese energy comes in, we know those are extra souls. And those are souls that are not on Earth, but they come in and attach to, let's just say, part of the soul families to be cleared so they don't have to incarnate. And so a lot of the stuff what you're saying with the Cobra, that they can see these soul families, because energy is energy. And it can be detected, you know, many, many different ways. And so prayers can actually be detected, you know, because everything is energy. The creator is energy, and the creator can change anything. We're part of this creator. And so we can see, and we are created in creator's image and likeness, and that means everybody is.
So what you're saying is when people do mass meditations, there really is a way to measure this.
Absolutely. Everything can be measured. It's all energy. Your thoughts are energy.
But how do you know that energy go, like for instance, Simon Parks, and we're going to have Simon on soon. We had some scheduling problems, but Simon will be joining us soon. So Simon did this meditation for CERN. How does he know that it was for, like, whoever can measure this frequency, this energy, how do you know that it was, you know, does it have a GPS? Does it know that it was for CERN and not for somebody who was experiencing an earthquake somewhere else in the world? How do they know where the intention's going? I guess that's just part of it.
Because people with who know quantum physics understand that everything is energy, and every energy, you know, cannot be destroyed. You know, I mean, that's the law of conservation. And so, you know, every thought you think is psychic energy, and it can be read with sensitive machinery, you know, or a sensitive individual. You know, every thought you think affects your health, your happiness, and you can have monitors on the body to show that. And every thought you think is carried on a psychic level. It's still an energy level,
Right, and actually I think Cobra has listed some research that was done. I think he posts it with his on his blog, that shows that there's that there is a way to measure and a quantifiable effect to mass meditation. But back to the whole soul issue, and let me go back to Shell, who's again our newest guest on the GoldFish Report. Shell, you were a pastor for 20 years, and I know you've had your own spiritual journey. And I just wanted to ask you if you had comments about this subject that we're talking about now. I'm sure you have something to say about it.
Well, I think that part of the beauty of the Global Mission of Peace is that we can come together with very different backgrounds. And that I think what is really, really important for us in Global Mission of Peace is to relate to one another on another way than most of the world is relating to one another. Because basically the way the world they're relating to one another is the whole thing of groupthink, even on the national level or on the global level or on the group level, that people can have interaction and fellowship and coherence by thinking the same thing, having the same belief systems. And like even in my nation, Norway, it's incredible groupthink in the whole nation about what's politically correct, the way of thinking. And I think the beauty of what we have in Global Mission of Peace is that we come from so many different backgrounds. So what Bo is sharing is very foreign to me. Basically, it's things I have not been very occupied about. But I'm listening to her. I have respect for her, and I feel like we're all like a piece in a mosaic coming together with our different experiences. And so that's basically where I'm at.
Thanks, Shell. And I think that we are going to try to start wrapping things up. But having said that, I think one of the things that we do at Global Mission of Peace is we have this new gathering coming, and it's regarding the new paradigm. And I think maybe Radagast might want to make a comment on that soul family issue, and then if you want to go into kind of announce what it is that's coming up. We have an event coming up soon.
Well, I'd like to tie the soul family issue into the new paradigm gathering, because I believe that these gatherings are about soul families. And so when you put out a call, there are certain ears that hear it, or certain people are moved by their heart to do something. And I think part of that is that there is, certain groups of soul family kind of get the message, and it flies over the heads of other people. Which is fine. In many ways, I feel that when the ambassador was first speaking, like with Dave Schmidt and Ron Van Dyke, the very early things, Kev Baker, that he was calling the soul family. And so for me, what this gathering is an opportunity for soul family members to meet each other in the flesh. And because the power of meeting people that you feel an affinity for, and I'm not talking about soulmates or twin flames, I'm just talking about an affinity, a greater family, and to meet them in the flesh, like when we came to into New Jersey and met at your house for that gathering. The power of meeting you for the first time physically was very powerful, and it has changed how, I always liked you and I always loved you, but now that I've met you, it's really different. It's very visceral, very real, very deep. And it creates a connection where, like, I now want to keep this person in my life. And so I just really feel that these gatherings are an opportunity for us to really start building the ground crew. And by a ground crew is, on the ground, you meet people, you can touch them, you can hug them, you can really get to know them where we're not separated by cyber distance. So this on December 6th, so in some town very close to Philadelphia, we're going to have our first Global Mission of Peace New Paradigm Gathering. And you can find out information. Is a fairly good write-up of it on our CBC Global Trust website, cbcglobaltrust.com. And we invite those who think they might be in the soul family to come in. Yes.
Is that globaleducation.com or Global Trust? Which one is that? I just want to clarify.
CBC Global Education.
Okay.
If I said it wrong, then thank you for correcting me.
Yeah,
thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Yeah, CBC Global Education. See, my sister has my back. And so anyway, we invite you to check it out if you feel called.
Okay, I'm going to screen share while you're talking so we can take a look at this. This is the GoldFish Report. It's also posted as an event on the GoldFish Report Facebook page, which we're looking at. And if you go down to the left side, you'll see the new paradigm gathering, which you can click on. And then you can also, which we just posted. So this gives you a little bit of information about it. So we have a little description here. And I think when you register, when you go onto the CBC Global, which I'm going to do that right now so people can see where we're going. Oh, no, it's this one. They can go to the web page. So, oh, I'm not spelling correctly today, but here, good thing it comes right up in my. So here's the website, Radagast, if you want to tell us a little bit about, let's see, where this is. So. We'll just keep going. Oh, this is it here. So you're saying, so here's the description, and it's a video. And this is where folks should go. CBC Global Education on Facebook, and this is where it will be. And then what they can do from there is they can, do you want to explain something about this video while I go to the actual website and show them where they can go to register?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, in the video, I'm speaking to the two particulars, Lucy and Mary Beth, who are organizing this and kind of doing the grunt work that goes into organizing anything like this. As Louisa hosted her gathering, she knows the amount of work that goes into trying to make something like this work. And so I interview them, and we try to kind of, I guess, give a little look into the heart of what's that global mission of peace, the people, who we are, and why you might be interested in becoming part of a growing family that has a mission for peace on the planet. And so, it's going to be, have some food, probably a little music, a little live music. We try to pull it together, and basically people meeting, and they're going to use a really nice format where after certain things that are part of the official program, that we invite people who would like to tell us about themselves, to talk about themselves, because very often you'll have people in a room and they don't know each other. But once somebody gets up and speaks their heart and tells about either why they're there or what, just what moves them, people feel connected. When you tell your story, other people connect to your story. And that allows for networking. And that's what this is about, networking. This is about identifying the people you really identify with, those you might be able to work with. And the power of a gathering has to be experienced for you to really know it in your heart and in your body. I mean, it's a cellular experience. And it's something that the web in many ways has taken away from us. I mean, it allows us to know where we are, but when you finally connect in a cellular manner, it is really powerful and it's exalting. And and when you get exalted, you raise your vibration. And when you raise your individual vibration, you raise the vibration of the planet. When you raise the vibration of the whole gathering, as we all know about the meditation effect, you just grow out from there.
Oh, thanks, Radagast.
So I highly recommend
Sorry.
Yeah.
We have a little delay in our communication, so it sounds like we talk over each other. I apologize. Did you want to finish what you were saying? And then
Sure. Actually, I'm on a satellite, and I'm the only person who has a satellite. Satellites have a 1 to 2 second latency. So anybody's trying to be respectful to me, they might think I've finished when I'm still talking. So that's just that they have to deal with it all the time. Everybody, it's just a dynamic within our global mission of peace that I have a retarded, as in slowed, delay connection.
Thanks for explaining that, Radagast. So here we are on cbcglobaleducation.com, which I talk about every GoldFish report. And this is where you would go. This gives you information about the event, and this is where you would go to register. And also, by the way, this is where you would go to register for the weekly symposium and to present your project to the ambassador and for the business plan development workshop. So this is the CBC Global Education. While I had it up, I thought I would just show it to everybody. And this is where you would go to register for that event. So I hope that people will be joining us for that event. Did you want to finish a comment?
A quick word, a quick word about about the symposium. At the symposium, any of the people that you see on the GoldFish report, you will often find at the symposium. I happen to be the host of the symposium, so I'm there with the mute button if you misbehave yourself. But anyway, if you're interested in learning a little bit about our family and hear us really discussing everything from projects to our lives, this is a chance to come in and experience what. And when we've had, the GoldFish, we've been calling out, and the ambassador, and as Louisa often tells people, come and sign up, and people have been signing up, and people are amazed. People are really amazed. I get little private, Zoom has a private chat function, and I get all kinds of things from there, and people are quite blown away by what they find. And people who've only been with a short time get incorporated, and they say, I have found my family.
Yeah, we're the black sheep family, it seems like. So what I'm going to do is we're at the end of our GoldFish report today, and I just want to ask anyone if they have like a quick, 1 minute cap or final comments, and I'll start with the ambassador. Is he muted?
The ambassador's not here.
Okay.
The ambassador's not here.
Okay, his internet must have gotten kicked off. Okay, so we'll go then to Radagast. Did you have any final comments you wanted to make today?
No, I've had plenty of FaceTime. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you at the gathering.
Okay,
or in
great.
the symposium.
And Bo, I'm going to go to you next, my dear. Did you have any final comments you wanted to say on what we talked about today?
I just wanted to share a little bit of expanse. It may take me about 1 minute. Would that be okay?
That's fine.
Okay, I just want to let everybody know this was information that I received from my master, who now is in spirit. And he talked about the one universe and how it was created, and that he received all this information through his high self, all his master beings that work with him on a spiritual level. And I know it sounds very esoteric, but our one universe was created on April 24th of 1993. Spirit created the new one universe. Everything experienced by all souls in a one universe becomes the egg of consciousness, or embryo, which is an idea holding potential, which is the basis for the next one universe. Infinite numbers of one universes, and each one created is higher in consciousness than the preceding one. Each one universe is based on the experiences and knowledge of all souls in a prior universe. Spirit then invests additional factors to make it higher in consciousness and potential than the previous one universe. We call that OSHA cohorts. One universes may consist of up to 8 quadrillion ultimate universes. That's 8 plus 15 zeros. 8 beginning with 8, the symbol of eternity. Each ultimate universe may have up to 9 million super universes. Each super universe may have up to 9,000 super universes. Each super universe may have up to 700,000 universes. And that's to say nothing about parallel universes. Think of a universe like a cover of a book, and the pages are parallel universe. So as of March 2001, the number of universes in our one universe is at 4,536 with 31 zeros added to it. And that's not to mention parallel universes. And a universe may have up to 126 million galaxies, all numbered in sets of 9,000s. And a galaxy has a number of planets, nebulas, and energy possibilities. all planets have human life forms in one way or another on them. And that was received by my master teacher. I always like to share that because I think it expands everybody to recognize that we are an extraordinary energy field.
That's amazing, Bo. I just have one question for you. Is there going to be a quiz on that? Because I wasn't taking notes, and maybe I should have been taking notes. You are far out, sister. Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. And
and thank you, Louisa, for all of your time and effort.
Love you, my dear.
Everybody, thank you very much.
Okay. Shell, did you have some closing comments you want to make?
Well, actually, the ambassador wanted me to share a little bit about the Global Mission of Peace Forum. Do I have time to do that?
Sure.
I'll share a screen and here is the Global Mission of Peace webpage, globalmissionofpeace.com. And the ambassador has given us an incredible platform with his immense vision of a global mission of peace and a global vision of peace. And it started out 1.5 years ago or so with the ambassador's war on ignorance. But then like half a year or 3/4 years ago, it also turned into empowering people all over the world that have good hearts and good projects. But from this, it has developed, like you see here on the picture, it has really developed a family, like a global mission of peace family, like Radagast was talking about. And so we're just going with the flow here. And if you go to the Global Mission of Peace website, you see down here the community. There's a little video explaining about the community. And if you push on the tab here, GMOP Forum, you will actually get into, or you can sign into a membership forum that is called Global Mission of Peace Forum. And you'll have your own page in this forum. And we have several things here. We have, just get this away there. We have here a list of many of the projects, for example. If I can just get it up. We have 99 projects here with the different categories where you can see the many very, very interesting projects that are on their way or being financed and come to life. We have a volunteer section, and actually we also have a volunteer meeting every Tuesday if you want to take part in that. And so there we are getting to know each other better, and we're talking about how we can develop this family and this forum and this community in a good way. It's us doing it together. It's not from the top and down. It's a thing that we're developing together. And you can just write a mail on this mail address, gmopvolunteers with an S, gmail.com, and you'll be invited for a Zoom meeting on Tuesdays. So please join our forum. There are discussions here and many other things, scheduled activities, meditation that we have every week. So if you feel like you want to be part of a family, this is also a possibility to get to know people. And it's membership based, but you don't need to pay anything. You just sign in. So, and it was really fun and a joy for me to take part of this GoldFish report today. So thank you for including me.
Shell, it was such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And Bo, it was a pleasure having you. I'm so glad that you did. And I don't want to forget about Sanjay. I wanted to give Sanjay a chance to make any closing comments that he might have from our discussion today. Let's see. Where did Sanjay go? Is he muted?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, now we can. Yeah, we have a little internet problems today.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to have it on speaker so Ambassador could hear, but because we're having technical difficulties at our location at the moment. With regards to what we've talked about today, one thing, like there was all different types of soul things, but the soul family and the call to the soul family, Ambassador being the voice of the dragon, he put out the dragon call, and I think all of us little dragons have flown to the nest. And we're here as the family, you know. I mean, Global Mission of Peace, which started off as True Vision of Peace, which was just a vision of what we're going to do, to now when we've actually started doing the gatherings and actually changing people, meeting people for real, and like, you know, it's becoming a greater family. All the other levels, as Bo said, was like more for clearing, and we will have people come in our family that will need clearing and move on. But the true family, that is the Global Mission of Peace family, will stay intact and go on to do many great things in the future. And just the word from the ambassador is to say, you know, good night and blessings to all, as he's having technical difficulty with his device. And that's it.
Thanks, Sanjay. And I wanted to thank our viewers for viewing, and also visit us on Facebook at the GoldFish Report. You can also visit us at CBC Global Education on Facebook, and there's also Global Mission of Peace on Facebook as well. Again, to register for the gathering that's coming up, it's at cbcglobaleducation.com. And now you can follow the links and the transcript for the Cobra interview, and also the digital YouTube version. You can also follow follow us on the goldfishreport.com in the links page, where the links to the transcripts will be there. There'll be a PDF version. There's also a link directly to Rob Potter's website that has the transcript published there as well. It's also published on our Facebook pages, and I'm sure some of our viewers have seen it already. And also the digital version is also going to be published there as well. So we want to thank all of our viewers for joining us. Please stay tuned. We have more interviews coming up. We have Simon Parks coming up in probably about 10 days now. We had to reschedule with Simon. We have many other people that are going to be joining us to be talking about the legal system, talking about religion, spirituality, and also exopolitics. So with having said that, we want to invite you all to join us, make comments on our YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.